It's been a while since I've knocked on Ford for their complete lack of a serious driver development program in NASCAR, but today I'm actually going to give them some props because I think they've taken a big step forward in fixing the problem. Let's jump in. Okay, so the fall and closure of Stewart Haas Racing is something that I think a lot of NASCAR fans saw coming. But what I don't think many anticipated was Gene Haas choosing to hold on to one charter on the Cup side and keep the Xfinity Series team as a two-car operation. Cole Custer was an obvious choice for the Cup seat, but I thought it was a bit of a red flag when Gene Haas basically said that he needed to keep the Cup team as a means of promoting Haas Automation. Now, that is a totally fair objective to have. I get it. But it's one of those things that's probably better left unsaid if you want to be taken seriously as a competitor in a major motorsports series. But then Haas Factory Team, or are we calling it HFT, went out and signed Sheldon Creed and Sam Mayer to drive their two Xfinity Series cars. Okay, Mr. Haas, you now have my attention. These are two big signings and showed that they are at least worth taking very seriously on the Xfinity Series side of things. I get it. Sheldon Creed is 27 years old and not the top prospect in the Xfinity Series, but let's not overlook the fact that he did win a Truck Series championship in 2020, and while he may not have found victory lane in the Xfinity Series yet, he scored 16 top fives with Joe Gibbs Racing last year and finished 6th in points. We're not talking about a guy with no future here. Sam Mayer was ranked number 2 on Bob Pockrass's preseason prospect rankings last year. He's put up 7 wins in the last 2 seasons with Junior Motorsports, and is still just 21 years old. Will the equipment at Haas be on the same level for him as it was at JRM? Probably not, but I think this move gives him a much more clear path to the Cup Series. We'll get to more on that in a minute. But here's what I think really signals that Haas is going to be the solution to Ford's biggest problem. Last month, Aaron Kramer, who has been tapped to serve as Cole Custer's crew chief in the Cup Series, and was formerly the lead engineer on Chris Buescher's car at RFK Racing, said that the technical alliance that Haas is going to have with RFK is such that the 41 car will essentially be a pseudo fourth car for RFK. So clearly there's a strong partnership there. Couple that with the fact that RFK does not have an Xfinity Series program, and Haas now has 2 very respectable prospects tied to its Xfinity program, and Haas is looking like it will be a great team to anchor Ford's driver development in the Xfinity Series. Like I said at the top of the video, I've been very critical of Ford's lack of a serious driver development program in the past. With the exception of Front Row Motorsports' single entry in the Truck Series, which will be expanded to 2 trucks with Chandler Smith this year, they have had no truck teams that could be reasonably viewed as development programs. In the Xfinity Series, all they really had was AM Racing, which did nothing to move the needle on Hailie Deegan's development, RSS Racing, which has never been a team used for driver development, and Stewart Haas Racing, which wasn't being used for driver development in any serious way after Chase Briscoe got the call up to the Cup Series in 2022. Now Haas has seemingly reinvented itself as a driver development team for Ford in the Xfinity Series, and Ford has picked Sheldon Creed off of Toyota, and picked off 2 of Bob Pockrass's top 10 prospects from last year in Sam Mayer and Chandler Smith, who is going to Front Row's second Truck Series team. Suddenly, Haas is starting to look like the centerpiece of Ford's driver development program and is worth taking seriously. Circling back to Sam Mayer's future, I think this move is particularly great for him. There was a day when being the top prospect at JRM put you on the fast track to a seat at Hendrick Motorsports in the Cup Series. I believe those days are gone, at least for now, as I don't expect there to be a lot of turnover at Hendrick in the next few years. Connor Zilisch is the only current JRM driver that I think has a really clear path to a competitive Cup Series seat at the moment, even if that path does go through Daniel Suarez. So I think that Mayer had probably hit a ceiling at JRM if he wanted to have a path to a competitive Cup Series seat. I believe that moving to Haas and aligning with Ford positions him to become the heir apparent to Brad Keselowski in the 6 car, much like many of us thought Justin Haley would be before he jumped ship from Rick Ware back to Spire. I really think Brad Keselowski will be stepping back from driving full-time in the not-so-distant future, and Sam Mayer should be considered the front-runner to replace him in the 6 car. All of this comes as Ford makes some ambitious moves across motorsports globally, as there are now serious rumors that they are working toward returning to prototype racing in IMSA and/or WEC, and we know that they're going to be returning to Formula One in a partnership with Red Bull in 2026. So it's nice to see that these moves don't come at the expense of their NASCAR program. A scaling back of Ford's operations, or God forbid, a withdrawal of Ford entirely, would inflict damage that NASCAR would have a hard time coming back from. There is one more thing that should not be overlooked, though. While this reshaped relationship between Haas and Ford and NASCAR may be great, the newly established relationship between Toyota and the Haas F1 team is difficult to ignore. A relationship with another manufacturer in other disciplines isn't unheard of. Penske runs Fords in NASCAR, but Chevys in IndyCar, and Porsches in sports cars. Chip Ganassi for several years ran Chevys in NASCAR, Hondas in IndyCar, and Cadillacs in sports cars. And Andretti has run Hondas in IndyCar while developing a relationship with Cadillac for Formula One. So while this may not necessarily mean anything, it does make it a little bit easier to see Toyota trying to step in and peel off Haas from Ford at some point. Toyota seems to be in a really good place in NASCAR at the moment, but as a Toyota fan, I wouldn't mind seeing them pick off another team that could be used for development of top talent. Anyway, the key takeaway for today is that the signings of Sheldon Creed and Sam Mayer and the seemingly reshaped relationship between Haas and Ford makes me think that for the first time in a long time, Ford is on the right track with their driver development program in NASCAR. But let me know what you think in the comments, and please be sure to subscribe to the channel, and if you've enjoyed the video, leave a like. I know that I've primarily been focused on NASCAR history and weird rumors of the past lately, and I'm going to get back to that in my next video, but it had been a while since I'd done a video on current events, and I wanted to mix things up and keep things fresh while getting some thoughts out on this. Anyway, that's what I've got for today. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.